Hi, welcome to another BI moment. One of the things that stands out in the market these days is that natural gas prices are about 70% down from the peak, and they are even 25% lower than before Russia invaded Ukraine. So, at the same time that this happened, one disparity that stands out there is that US oil producer spreads, credit spreads, they are actually at the tides. So, whilst that doesn't seem to make sense, it's a good thing that we have Spencer Cutter here, BI's energy analyst, to explain how we arrived to that. Spencer, hi. Can you explain to us how do we get here?
Hey, Renato, thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to discuss. Yes, as you mentioned, natural gas prices did see a nice rally in 2022, driven in part by the Ukraine crisis and what was going on geopolitical drivers. And natural gas prices jumped for up to seven, eight, $9 per thousand cubic feet. And fortunately, a lot of the natural gas producers use that opportunity to maximize free cash flow rather than maximizing production. So you didn't see them ramping up spending a bunch of money to ramp up production. Instead, they took the money that they generated and used that to pay down debt. So leverage ratios came down, credit fundamentals looked great. And so there is a fundamental reason as to why credit spreads tightened. It did make a lot of sense. But fast forward to today, and natural gas prices now are below $2 per thousand cubic feet. That's a level nobody can use to generate free cash flow. It's not really sustainable. So the question is, why are spreads still tightening, or have they still been tightening today when the fundamentals have kind of turned and are now going in the other direction?
Right. So, what do you see? What do you see the catalysts to be, and what would you look out for if you were trying to evaluate how that disparity evolves?
Well, so I think you started to see the first shoes drop, so to speak. So throughout 2023, as natural gas prices were coming down, companies were able to sort of ride it out for a while, and they just sort of thought, well, everybody seems to think that prices are eventually going to rebound because you have all this export infrastructure coming online in the United States within the next 3 or 4 years. That will drive more global demand for U.S. produced gas, which will then eventually theoretically drive up prices. That has not happened yet. It's not guaranteed that it will happen. And finally, a month or two ago, you started to see a handful of producers, Chesapeake, Antero, Comstock, say, hey, we're actually going to cut our spending. We're going to cut production, or we're going to cut our spending, which is eventually going to lead to lower production in an effort to minimize the cash burn. So that started, and that can be sustained for a while, but eventually, if gas prices stay below, call it $3, you get this sort of negative feedback loop after a few years. Then it does become unsustainable. So I don't think anybody's going to hit a wall anytime imminently soon, but I do think the fundamentals have fundamentally turned, and it's a matter of time. I think the technicals have been driving this market for a while. I've talked to people about this dynamic quite a bit, and the feedback I get is, well, what else am I going to buy? There's very little high yield energy issuance, very little debt outstanding, because like I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of the free cash flow in 2022 was used to pay down debt. Nobody's issuing new debt. So it's sort of a technically driven factor. And my view is eventually fundamentals, if they stay where they are, will overtake the technicals.
Perfect. That's quite interesting. So it's a conundrum of technical evolving fundamentals and the headline gas price that it's at the center of
Yeah.
it. So thank you very much for that, Spencer. I would recommend everyone to check Spencer Cutter's bio on the terminal, where you can access his latest BI focus idea precisely on this topic. Thank you very much.